Today on Cheese Matters, let me introduce you to some of the most intriguing cheeses in the cheese family, the washed rind cheeses. These soft ripened cheeses have been scrubbed or washed during maturation with a salt solution, a brine, and that keeps the surface really sticky and encourages the growth of this lovely little friendly bacteria which is called brevilinins, that lovely orange colour that actually helps to mature the cheese and gives it its smelly characteristic. Although they have quite a pungent aroma, they're actually quite a sweet tasting cheese in the centre. And this one here, which is the Tasmanian Heritage Red Square, is actually a point, which means it's really ready to eat. You can see the centre is custardy and bulging. It has a nice little bit of mould breakdown on the surface, and it's really quite beautiful at room temperature. So when you buy a washed rind cheese, like a Red Square or a King Island Dairy Stormy, you will find that they will have this lovely orange colour on it, so it's not off, that's the way it's meant to be. These cheeses are beautiful on a cheese platter, they go great in a salad, and I'm going to put them onto a pizza today for something quite different. So this wonderful pancetta and rocket pizza with the washed rind cheese on it, I'm just going to start off by smashing a clove of garlic, and we're going to add that to 2 tablespoons of oil. Just finely chop it. So just a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in there. This is always nice if it's let to stand for a little while, but no time today, so we're just going to brush the pizza base. On the recipe on the website, I've given you a recipe for a really nice, quick and easy pizza dough, or you can do what I'm doing today, and that is use a pre or partially baked one that you can buy from the store. About 250 grams of mozzarella, that's enough to make 2 pizzas. Now you'll notice that this one doesn't actually have any tomato sauce on it, and that's because the flavours I'm using don't really match with it. Now a little bit of pancetta, about 200 grams or so, again to make 2 pizzas. And I'm popping that on top because I want the pancetta to cook really nice and crisp. Into the oven at 220 degrees Celsius for about 10 to 15 minutes until the base crisps up and cheese is nice and gooey. What I'm going to do next is make some balsamic figs, and these are wonderful to put on top of the pizza. So just get the right flame going here. 1/4 cup of water and 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and we're going to dissolve that together in the pan. And while that's sort of happily melting over there, I'm going to chop the figs. These are simply dried figs. You can get them at the supermarket. They always need to be plumped up a little bit before you use them, I think. They are lovely served with cheese, but if you can either poach them in something or even let them plump up in something like a little port, they're much nicer. So once the sugar has dissolved and we've got a nice little caramel-like syrup here, we can add the figs. And you can just turn it off and add 1 tablespoon of the balsamic vinegar. So I'm using the always fresh one today, which is always good. Let those cool. They can be done well in advance, and we're going to use them a little bit later. So the pizza's going to be topped with a little bit of a rocket salad. There's 100 grams of rocket here. It looks like a forest, doesn't it? And all I'm going to do is add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil to that. I like, when I'm dressing salad greens, I always like to toss the oil through the salad first before I add the rest of the vinegary ingredients or acid ingredients. And now just a couple of tablespoons of the fig syrup. Remember, this has the balsamic vinegar in it, so it's going to give it a lovely dressing. And you can see how the dressing beads on top of the salad because I've protected the greens by adding the oil. A little bit of pepper. a little bit of salt. That's all you need. Quick toss. And I can smell that pizza, it's almost ready. So let's get that cheese sliced. I'm using Tasmanian Heritage Red Square, and it really is a very flavoursome cheese. If you like brie and camembert, I suggest you try this because it has got a little bit of a fuller flavour profile than brie or camembert. Now you need 140 grams for each pizza, so you'll need 2 little packets if you're making the full recipe. You'll find them in the supermarket, and try and choose them close to the best before date because that's when they're most ripe and they're really ready to eat. Yum. This has had just 10 minutes in the oven, and you can see it is crisp and golden. The pancetta's all crisped up on the top, but now we need to work quickly. So come over here. I'm going to grab the washed rind cheese slices and lay them on top, just all over the pizza. They're going to soften with the residual heat from the pizza. And top it with some rocket in the centre. So you've got your pizza and salad all in one hit. And we finish it with the figs, which are just drizzled over. The sweetness of the fig goes really well with the washed rind cheese and the crispy pancetta. So I'm sure you're going to love this recipe. And of course, if you want more cheese recipes or any information on cheese, go to cheesematters.com.au. It's your complete guide to cheese.